CI 650.
Tell me you will stay, make me smile.
Yeah, that's Chicago on Boomer Life. That's called Make Me Smile. And if you visit BC Perio Dental Health and Implant Center, you too will be smiling. Our guest on the show today, it's always good to see you, Dr. Ron Zokol. Nice to have you with us, Ronnie.
Hi again, Tom.
Thanks for coming in Saturday. It's great.
A pleasure.
Now, let's just suppose it's like the old bus going down the street. People get on, people get off. And some people just got on now after a commercial break. And this is the very first time that they're hearing about BC Perio. Fill us in. What's it all about? And how did it come about?
Oh, BC Perio is a creation by Dr. Bobby Birdie. And Dr. Birdie is one of these rare individuals, is highly, highly credentialed, so thoroughly trained. He's a dual specialist in periodontics and prosthodontics. He's also dual board certified, which is a higher standard within the specialty of periodontics and prosthodontics. He's dual specialized in both Canada and the U.S., as well as board certified in Canada and the U.S., and that is an absolutely unique thing. There's nobody else in North America that has those qualifications.
Your facility is also a teaching facility?
It is. We not only provide referral services for other doctors and such. We have people who will phone directly, come on in. And then when we're finished doing that, we have doctors coming in from all over North America, sometimes other parts of the world, like Saudi Arabia, India, what have you, for training in the fields that we do, in oral implantology, surgical training, prosthetic training. So we help other dentists acquire skills and knowledge so they can take it back and serve their patients well.
If people are coming in from all over the world, these different doctors, obviously what you're doing must be a good thing. So how do they find out about you?
Word of mouth is one.
That's good.
That's a good one. We're on the web, of course. I think people will eventually find out. It's a small world in the dental field, so when people start looking at who's out there and they type in a word like implant study or something to learn about oral implantology, usually our institute actually crops up at one of the heads of the lists, and I think that's one of the ways they get into contact. But I think communication, word of mouth stuff is probably some of the strongest testimonials we have, and why people come to us for the training.
And you teach everywhere. Dr. Ron has been teaching on, was it a ship or a river barge in Amsterdam or somewhere, or Holland? I don't know where it was.
Well, not a river barge, Tom, not a river barge.
I was trying to be kind.
This river barge charges about $5,000 to $10,000 per cabin.
Okay, I see.
But I have lectured on a good many cruises where dentists have taken a cruise, maybe 10 to 14 nights somewhere in the world, and I'm in not only invited but actually paid to go out there and teach a program for the benefit of those doctors who are on the cruise.
Let's talk about some of our listeners who think they might need your services. How do they know?
How do you know?
How do they know that they need to come and see Dr. Zokol or Dr. Birdie?
Well, I would say that if you think you have a dental issue, then probably you do.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be the case, but that would be a rarity. But if you do have a consideration, what we do is help you understand what kind of a problem that's there and give you options for treatment. Sometimes those options are not what we do, and we'd refer you to those who would do those type of things. In those cases where we are able to find a solution that's within our skill sets, then we give you the treatment option and we will work with you to find the correct solution that meets your priorities and desires.
Now, if somebody is dealing with a general practice dentist and they think that they need to see you, do they need to have a referral from their regular dentist?
No, they don't. Okay. But we do like to work with people's dentists. And if you come in and you have a dentist who you see routinely, that's okay, because we'll communicate with that dentist if it is your desire, and if it's not, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
But we would be happy to work with anybody's dentist to help you achieve the results and the goals that you have.
We've talked about free consultations on this program for, good Lord, for months and months and months now. Let's suppose somebody's been listening to your messages, they've been thinking about this, and okay, they've finally done it, they've made the commitment, they've made the appointment. Now they come in to see you or Dr. Birdie. They sit down for the consultation. Can you walk us through the consultation as what the different steps and what you do?
Sure. Now, a person comes in. Of course, they'll speak probably to Shauna or one of the other lovely receptionists at BC Perio. An appointment would be made. They'll come in. They'll get a CT scan. This is a complimentary three-dimensional radiograph that has the least amount of radiation exposure of any instrument of its kind in the world. and therefore it's very, very low. I mean, you walk out for an afternoon in the sun and you're getting more radiation exposure than this X-ray provides, but it gives us the information. This is a scan that in many other locations is costing $300 to $400, and we provide that also complimentary, so that we can understand what's going on a three-dimensional basis. And this is a machine that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we feel it's that important to have information done comprehensively so that we can really tell you what's actually going on. With that information, you will be able to understand what we see. We'll explain it, we'll discuss it in terms of what you're looking for. We'll have that conversation and see if there's some type of a fit. And if they're not, that's okay. But at least you'll have at least the information that we can provide for you based on the information we're able to acquire.
And the CT scan, as you're talking about, is much more inclusive. You can see way better what's going on in there than you can with just a regular.
Well, regular X-rays are two-dimensionals, actually, Tom. And the benefit of a CT scan is it's three-dimensional. And that provides us with a massively greater amount of information. Often, when you go into a dental office and you get a two-dimensional scan, could be a regular X-ray or could be what we call a panoramic X-ray, which is the standard for most people who do oral implantology related work. You have to then understand what the third dimension is to some degree. There's a little bit of an unknown. So the processing of information so that you can provide a definitive treatment plan cost is going to take more time. Whereas we can actually do it with you right there sitting with us. We can actually plan it out on the three-dimensional scan and verify that it can work and know exactly what it's going to take and when we can do it.
So you know that ahead of time then?
All ahead of the time. And we do it very quickly as a result of that, which is very beneficial. People don't have to wait to find out what is valuable to them and what they can have done. We don't have to spend any more time. This is the other part of it, is that we get it done and we get it done efficiently. And if you choose not to partake of it, that's okay. But if you do, we just go ahead and do it.
So once people sit in your chair, you do the consultation, and you can tell them what the procedure will be. You'll tell them what it's going to cost and what the steps are, everything involved.
Absolutely. And walk out with a treatment plan and the costs. And you can see how it's going to lay out if you choose to go ahead with it.
And if there's something there that the person doesn't need, you'll tell them too, right?
Oh, that happens quite a bit. We've had people who come in, and I can think of a case last week actually where a person came in and says, I want to have 6 implants into this area. And I said, that's unusual, because people don't come in and say, I want this many implants. They just say, I want teeth. And I said, have you been talking to somebody else before? You've been looking into this? He said, oh, yeah. I was told I need 6 implants up here. I said, well, actually, we can do it with 4 quite nicely. We don't have to put you through that process or the cost. We can definitely do it with 4.
Interesting. So no matter what the problem is, if you have a referral, that's fantastic. If you don't have a referral, call the office, right?
Absolutely.
With your permission, may I give the telephone numbers?
I would be pleased.
In Vancouver, it's 604-872-0222, 604-872-0222. The address is number 501-777 West Broadway. That's Broadway and Willow.
That's correct.
When the wave Willow falls. 777 West Broadway in Vancouver. You remember that song, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say yes whether I did or not.
That a boy. In Coquitlam, it's on Johnson Street. It's 250 1175 Johnson Street. That's number 250 1175 Johnson Street. The telephone number there for the BC Perio Dental Health and Implant Center is 604-936-8244. 604-936-8244. The gentleman we always have on the radio with us at least once a month, Dr. Bobby Birdie, who's not with us today. He's busy, I think, hanging out with his little dentist at home, isn't
he? He's got a young one who's about 8 weeks now.
Yeah.
And he's spending a lot of time, a lot of sleepless nights, I suspect. And so he gets a break whenever he can handle it.
All I can say is it serves him right. that's great. And
Dr.
Dr.
You reap what you
So
sow.
they say, yes. And of course, Dr. Ron Zokol is in studio with us this morning. And you've been practicing dentistry for a long time. You started off with your dad, right?
I did. Yeah, that was back in 1974. We practiced 20 years together before he retired.
So were you ever a general dentist?
Yes,
You were.
And technically still am.
Really?
I can't call myself anything else. You know, Dr. Birdie has these credentials as a periodontist, prosthodontist, but I stopped doing general dentistry 25 years ago, and my focus has been advanced surgical and prosthetic reconstruction.
What got you interested in that? That's interesting.
My father was a prosthodontist, so he was doing advanced restorative dentistry, and I got into that swing very, very quickly in my career. And when implants started to come out into the field, when I was doing this work, I realized that we could do better quality work with greater long-term results if we could make implants work under these teeth rather than just have these prosthetics sit on gum tissue, and you have, when you bite on it, it bit down on the gum tissue.
Yeah.
So implant-supported teeth became a very strong motivation for me to learn about it. And the more you learn about it, the more it grew, and it just became one of those things that my passion for understanding it thoroughly kind of took root, and away we went. So I've been teaching this field now for the better part of 25 years.
Now, implants are not necessarily a new thing. I understand they've been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
A very, very long time. But the success rates were poor when we go back 50 years, for example. They're poor based on what we understand their success rates are today. We have evidence of implants being placed back in 7,500 BC.
Okay.
That's a couple of days ago.
It is, and those must have been dandy ones, too.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I mean, these were made out of ivory, actually,
Nice,
and pounded into teeth. And so we have mummies 3,000, 4,000 years ago. Implants up until back in about the mid to late 70s, if we got a 50% success rate over 5 years, we thought that was reasonable.
Interesting.
But the general population of dentists never accepted that as being adequate, and with good reason too. Today, we're looking at 10-year success rates in the 90% area, and in some hands of people with more advanced skills and such, it's even higher.
Maybe in the next segment of the show, you and I can chat about where you think implants might be going in the future.
Sure.
I mean, who's going to argue with you? I certainly won't be. You're listening to Boomer Life on CIL 650 Radio. Today we're talking with Dr. Ron Zokol from BC Perio Dental Health and Implants Center. Their locations, 2 locations to serve you. 501-777 West Broadway, that's in Vancouver at Willow. The telephone number to make your free consultations, 604-872-0222, 604-872-0222. If you live in the Coquitlam area, it's number 250, 1175 Johnson Street, and the telephone number in Coquitlam, 604-936-8244. That's 604-936-8244. Call that number and let the good doctors know that you heard them on the radio, CL 650, and you'll be ready for your free consultation. We have more with Boomer Life coming up in just a moment.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CIL 650.